Start the intro.
Hey everybody, we're the Slaytons. My name's Caitlin. This is my husband.
Elijah.
And we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Okay, so this year has been super fun. A little crazy.
Very crazy.
Yeah. So in our first year of marriage, we got married, went on honeymoon. I had surgery. Not long after that, we found out we were expecting. And then
We started a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I changed my job, started a YouTube company,
We
bought a house.
Bought a house, yeah.
That was kind of a fixer-upper, so we've been doing lots of house projects. It's been a year.
Yeah. A lot of big decisions we had to make.
Yes. It was kind of like we jumped on this roller coaster and just full speed ahead.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're by no means experts on marriage. We're rookies. We just celebrated 1 year. But we did a lot in that 1 year, and there was never a point where I could say I was like actually really mad at you.
Right.
Like, it was always fun. And yes, we had disagreements, but we had some really awesome tips and tools that our mentors had just given to us that, I don't know, we wanted to pass on.
So let's hop right in. Our first point is not every hill is worth dying on. So when you have disagreements and stuff, like, part of marriage is sacrificing. So you don't always have to be right every time.
We felt like we were prepared going in, and we had done a lot of prep work before we were married. But there's things that you just can't prepare for, like in-laws or intimacy or just random finance things or how you like the house cleaned. I mean, there's a lot of things you don't know until you're living with one another that you realize, like, we're different.
Yeah.
But with that, it's important to remember that not everything is a big deal. And sometimes they feel like a big deal. We had what we called life moments. And what that meant was there's times where I would like snap, especially, I would say that like first trimester pregnancy, there were a lot of life moments on my part because, you know, hormones are crazy.
Even so, like, if I had a hard day at work, you know, I had a number of things that came in that I had to get done, and I was just like swamped, and I get home and my energy is just drained and stuff. It's like life happens, and so like knowing that like I still have to give my 100%, but the other person needs to have grace at the same time for when things do happen.
Right, because when you're exhausted or when, I don't know, some big life event is going on.
Crying the whole day.
Like, my 100% might look different than 100% on a day where I, you know, have taken a shower and I have conquered the world and I'm just like showing up for things. Like, that 100% is different than a day where our son just does not stop crying and I've like been holding him and I'm exhausted and I haven't even brushed my teeth that day. And so like when he gets home, I might act a little bit differently, but realizing that like life happens, and whenever somebody acts in a way that is maybe not their normal character, like, first of all, just saying, like, you can sometimes just call it out. Like, hey, that was a life moment. Cool. And unless it's like a recurring issue, like if one of us was doing something and it just kept happening, that's something that we would sit down and like get to the root of it, talk through it, figure out what's going on. But a lot of times it was like very understandably, that's a life moment. And so we were able to like acknowledge it, move on without resentment, without hurt, without any hard feelings. We were able to go to bed without being angry. You know, that's a big thing you hear a lot. And it was because we were able to just say like, hey, don't worry about it. Like, let's move on. And so I didn't have shame, or you didn't have shame. The other person didn't have, you know, annoyance built up, but we were able to just charge it to life.
Yeah.
Number 2 is keep learning one another.
This one really just looks like being intentional with your spouse. Always just pursuing them and showing them that you have a passion for them is a big part of it. But also, there's lots of resources out there. So, you can listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video. Just get some insight on how to strengthen your marriage. Because really, if you're not just constantly strengthening your marriage, it kind of ends up like in a neutral zone, which is not a great place to be in.
Well, and the truth is, you can't be neutral. You're either growing closer to that person or you're growing further away. And I mean, how many times have you heard, yeah, we were just so different. We grew apart. He's not the person I married. Of course you're not. You're both adults growing, learning, having new life experiences. That changes a person. And so I actually heard this the other day on a podcast, and I mean, feel free to source check me, I don't know. But they said that the average adult has 5 different loves in their life. But if you're lucky, you can have the same person each time. And what that means is you're gonna change. You're gonna morph. Everyone is evolving as life goes on. And so if you're lucky, and if you put in the work, I don't even think it's luck. I think it's if you're putting in the work to learn one another and to grow closer, you're gonna fall in love over and over again. I fell in love with you while we were dating, but then we got married, we had all these life experiences, we had a baby together, and let me tell you, if you're having a baby with somebody, you fall in love with them all over again, because I've been able to see you become a father, and that's just what I always wanted was a husband and a kid, and being able to watch that made me fall more in love with you. And so I think just encouragement to always put in the work, always do the hard thing, because it is so worth it. And number 3 really goes right along with that. Have hard conversations.
Honestly, the sooner you can have a hard conversation, the less resentment builds typically. Having hard conversations is a lot of times awkward. Hard. And I think there's a little bit of fear there. Oh, what if this turns them off, or they react a certain way that wouldn't be nice or something like that. But most of the time, whenever there's conflict, a lot of times it's typically a misunderstanding. So if you can get to the heart of why there's a misunderstanding, or the reason that the other person isn't doing what you think they should expected to do, then you can usually come out a lot better on the other side.
Yeah. And something that we realize is with topics like finances or household responsibilities or gender roles or even intimacy, there's an inner voice you grow up with, and you watch your parents and their marriage, you watch the people around you or your grandparents, and you kind of just have this story of this is how life works. We have that a lot. Elijah would say isn't that a rule? And I'm like, what do you mean that's a rule? What kind of rule? What rule book are you in?
Yeah.
But we all have different experiences that we grow up with, and so being able to just talk through that, be hey, why did we do that the way we did it? Or why are you thinking this way? And not coming at it in a defensive or I'm gonna attack you mode, but be hey, can we have a conversation? Because I was a little bit confused because I had never done something that way before, but I want to hear where you're coming from. And so having those hard conversations are so worth it, because like you said, it leads to unity instead of resentment over time. And number 4, make life fun. And this is so simple.
Yeah, I would say still date each other.
Yeah.
Don't stop dating just because you got married, or buying your wife flowers. Doing the little things count a lot, making breakfast in bed, or bringing your husband coffee, and then have to go make it. It's there's so many things, just being intentional. So putting a date night, I'd say like once a week if possible. I know that's kind of hard. If you have kids, maybe just have at-home date nights. But just having something planned where y'all can spend quality time together really does strengthen your bonds like no other.
And you don't have to make something elaborate to be fun. Like, that's what we learned is there's a lot of fun in the ordinary. You can make fun in the ordinary. And so, I mean, just this week, I got stuff for pizzas because we needed dinner one night. And I mean, it turned into so much fun because we decided to get the Italian music on Spotify playing and just dance in the kitchen and have a really fun date night at home with a newborn in tow. Like, it doesn't have to be elaborate. We don't have to go out. We don't have to spend a lot of money. I already bought the pizza stuff, but it's about just like being super intentional when like, hey, I have a couple extra minutes, like, do you want to sit down and play a board game or just do something really fun when, I mean, we're just going to sit on the couch anyway, so let's do something fun together. And that also like feeds into our last point, like just like growing closer to one another. When you're sharing experiences, when you're, I mean, just having fun together, it keeps life entertaining, it keeps like life fun, and you have less of like a chance of becoming stagnant because you want to be around each other.
I think there's also like the pursuit part. Like, women love being pursued and guys love pursuing. And so like if you stop doing that, you're like kind of like there's like a party that's missing. And so like keep pursuing each other. Keep going after and learning more about the other person.
Okay, and last, number 5 is actually the most important point. Keep Jesus the number 1.
Yeah. So I feel like we got superpowers whenever we got married. Like, the power of prayer is so strong.
Yeah.
Being able to, you pray about something, I'm going to pray about something, we're going to meet, and then God tells us the exact same thing. And it is just so powerful. Also, God blesses marriage. Like, he really does. And so, like, we've seen it a number of times where there'll be stuff going on and we're like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? And then we kind of just lean into God and we're like, okay, we trust you, we have faith. We know that you have a good plan for our marriage, you have a good plan for our life, and that you're constantly bringing us together. You're not going to do anything to separate us, you know? So we just lean in and then we always come out better.
That's so true. And I think it's important to remember that God supports your marriage. Like, God wants you to be married. He wants you to multiply. He wants you to, make disciples and to minister alongside one another. And so remember that like God is on your team. God is on your family's team. God wants you to succeed. And so when we come to, a financial hurdle, or when we come to just something that we're like, I don't know, we're just not seeing this eye to eye, we are like, hey, let's hit pause. Let's take 24 hours away from this conversation and go pray. Like you said, like we go individually, we pray, we journal, we come back together, and it is wild because usually we hear the same thing, but we hear like different pieces of the puzzle. Like I needed his part to build my faith, and he needed my part to build his faith. And so, it builds trust with, our individual relationships with God, but also it brings us closer together because marriage is a 3-stranded cord. Like you are together with Jesus. It's us and Jesus. It's not just us, because we could not do a good marriage. But when we pull Jesus into the mix, and when he is like absolutely our number 1 priority, then we are getting along great.
Yeah, definitely.
We hope that this was encouraging to you, and if you're a newlywed or if you have a newborn, we would love for you to subscribe, because that is the season of life that we're in, and we would love more people in the same boat to tag along.
Yeah, so feel free to like or leave a comment as well, and just let us know what you think.